These games are great. But what if I wanted to play them on my monitor? I mean, yeah, I could rip them legally and have them in an emulator, but what if I wanted to play games like Kirby's Tilt and Tumble, or even use the IR port? Well, that's where this mod comes in. This mod is a Game Boy mod for any content creator or streamer or what have you. So this mod came in this cool plastic case that's shaped like a Game Boy cartridge, and I kinda like that packaging. And at the very top you see this warning to test before installation, and this is kind of useless because you do have to install it just to test the screen, because you have to solder a wire to the PCB and the screen for it to actually turn on. And then it also comes with a cool holographic retro game repair shop sticker. And then what else is there's the PCB that you need. It also comes with all the wires that you need. It came with a screen lens, the screen itself, and the ribbon cable to attach the screen PCB to the actual Game Boy Color PCB. As you can see here, I have my donut board and the speaker. I am going to take out the speaker later on though, because it does cause rattle. But as you can see here, I'm just putting in the ribbon cable and attaching the screen's PCB to my Game Boy Color to quote unquote test it. And here I have the shell. It comes with extra membranes, buttons, and a sticker for the model. It also comes with an extra lens, and on the inside you can see the Game Boy buttons. Now this is a trick I learned from Macho Nacho Productions, where you kind of just take the back plate of the shell and stick your Game Boy Color motherboard in there, and then you can easily put in your batteries. And as you can see here, the screen does not work. For the screen to actually turn on, you have to solder a wire to the pad labeled battery on the screen's PCB. And then take the other end of the wire and solder it to this pad on the power switch on the Game Boy Color motherboard. And as you can see, the screen now turns on. And with that out of the way, I went to work soldering all the rest of the wires to the rest of the pads on the screen's PCB. I then took solder and tinned the pads where the wires needed to go. Now this next step is completely optional. I took some heat shrink and fed the wires through the heat shrink for it to be nice and cable managed. And as I fed the wires through the heat shrink, I also soldered to where they needed to go. If you're confused on where the wires need to be soldered, here's a picture from Retro Game Repair Shop's website. Here I'm just tidying up the wires so it'll fit nice into the shell. So basically what I'm showing on screen now is me cutting up the shell, and you could just ignore all this. I didn't go through with it. I did all this work and it didn't come out how I would have liked it to have come out. So instead of using this shell, I am using a different shell that is made specifically for the LCD screen mods. So here I have the second shell and a different screen. I got a laminated screen so I wouldn't mess up the screen installation again. But here I'm just peeling back the 3M tape. Since most Game Boy mods essentially use the same exact screen, it's essentially plug and play. But here I got some white buttons to match the white screen, and this is totally on me. I thought the buttons would include start and select. It does not. It says that on the store page. On me for not including white start and select. So at this point, everything that needs to be in the Game Boy is now in, so I'm just taking the screws and tightening it down. And at this point, you may have noticed I left one thing out of this video. I did not include showing how I made the HDMI port. I wanted to take my time and not have to worry about catching it on camera. I took a nail file and sanded it down bit by bit and make sure it all fit in perfectly, and I think the results will speak for themselves. I also desoldered the screen's touchpads on the PCB because I would accidentally tap them, and I can just use the screen's OSD to fix the color, brightness, and filters. And with that, we're done.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.